Buenas and half a day. The Committee on Rules hereby convenes this meeting. For the record, today is Wednesday, January 17th, 2018, and the time is now 2:04 p.m. The Committee on Rules Director, Mrs. Janine Cordero, will now call the roll of members.
Senator Lee, Senator Tom Atta, Speaker Cruz, Vice Speaker Terlahi, Senator Uggan, Senator Nelson, Senator Rodriguez, Senator San Augustine, Senator San Nicolas, Senator Espaldon, Senator Torres. Madam Chair, you do have a quorum.
Does the chair hear a motion to excuse members not present? Moved by Senator Uggan, second by Senator Atta. Any objections? It has been moved and seconded that members not present be excused. No objection, motion carries. I'll also give you a minute or two to review our minutes for the November 22nd, 2017 meeting, and then hear motions to ratify the minutes.
Madam Chair, move that we accept the core meeting minutes.
Subject to correction, seconded by Senator Uggan. Any objection? So moved. We'll now move to the Legislative Secretary report to provide a report on the document tracking for a Legislature in Guam. The Legislative Secretary report to date is as follows. 20 appointments been submitted by the governor thus far, and all are pending. I'd like to state for the record that 6 appointments have met their potential due date, and the committees have been notified by the Committee on Rules. 8 zone changes submitted by the governor, and all have been approved by the governor's office. In addition, 9 proposed rules and regulations have been submitted thus far, and the compiler of laws has been informed. There are 2 items that have potential due dates of January 23rd, 2018 and March 29th of 2018. Oversight committees have been notified and are aware. And for more information, you can visit our website at guamlegislature.org. Moving on to the session agenda.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
On the report regarding the rules and regulations, could we please, I think I've asked this at the last meeting, but could we please get that report in writing? Because unless I'm not seeing it, it's not here, but that's the one I want to know what those deadlines actually are.
It should be a part of your packets, and it's titled Legislative Secretary Report on Rules and Regs with today's date on the top. It's a chart.
Oh, okay, then maybe it's just me, unless it's attached to something. Well, other people have it in their packets, so I'll get it. All right, thank you.
Okay, no problem. And we'll move on to the session agenda. Committee reports for the following items have been duly filed with the Committee on Rules. We have a number of bills that are listed on old business, bill number 5, 6, 18, 29, 34, 39, 74, 75, 81, 86, 92, 104, 114, 124, 125, 145, 163, 166, and resolutions 107 and 239. With regard to new business, we have bill number 182, introduced by Senators Estevez and Rodriguez, bill 187, Vice Speaker Terlahi, Senators Nelson and Espadon. Bill 195, Senator Castro, Esteves, Nelson, Morrison, and Muña. Bill 208, Senator Rodriguez and Senator San Agustin, in addition to the appointments of Amanda L.G. Santos, Joseph M. McDonald, Andrew Gale, and Cecilia G. Manzanoña. Are there any motions to place these items on our upcoming session agenda? Senator San Agustin, you're recognized.
Madam Chair, I make a move to place Bill 124-34 and Bill 125-34 on the agenda.
And if you,
124 and 125?
let's do them one by one, so if you can just
Okay.
124 and read the title, please.
Okay, no. Read it verbatim. I don't think
Right here.
124 is relative to the purpose of adopting the Interstate Medical Licensure Compact pursuant to law. It was introduced by Senator Dennis Rodriguez, co-sponsored by myself, Senator Fernando Esteves, Senator Tom Morrison, Senator Frank Ogden, Senator Will Castro, and Senator Telina Cruz Nelson.
Do I hear a second to place Bill 124 onto the session agenda? Seconded by Senator Uggan. Any objection? Senator San Agustin?
Yes, I'd like to ask that Bill 125-34, sponsored by Senator Dennis Rodriguez, myself, Senator Esteves, Senator Morrison, Senator Uggan, Senator Will Castro, Senator Nelson, and Senator Muña, an act to add Section 12208H to Chapter 12, Part 1, Article 2 of Title 10, Guam Code annotated, relative to the establishing of a visiting physician temporary permit.
Do I hear a second for placing Bill 125? Seconded by Senator Espadon. Any objection? Hearing none, motion carries. Senator San Agustin.
Yes, Madam Chair, notwithstanding the committee rules, Bill 196-34, which is an act to add Article 4 to Chapter 23 of Title 7 of the Guam Code annotated relative to halting recalcitrant judgment debtors from avoiding to pay their Guam court judgment.
Moved by Senator San Agustin. Do I hear a second? Seconded by Senator Espadon. Any objection? Hearing none, motion carries. Senator San Agustin.
I'd like to add also Bill 210-34, sponsored by Senator Rodriguez and myself, an act to adopt the rules and regulations attached as Exhibit A hereto entitled the Rules and Regulations Governing the Joaquin Casey Conception, the Second Compassionate Cannabis Use Act of 2013, and at the same time amend Section 1003 FFF of the same rules and regulations, and to amend Section 122503 AA of Article 25, Division 1, Chapter 10 of Title 10, Guam Code annotated relative to allowing medical use of cannabis by non-residents. Oh, excuse me, I'll repeat it with the notwithstanding motion then. I'm sorry. He seconded? He seconded, BJ. Oh, you want? I apologize, but notwithstanding the rules. Madam Chair.
Senator San Agustin, seconded by Speaker Cruz. Any objection to adding Bill 210 to the session agenda?
Objection.
Senator Adams posed an objection. Would you like to speak on it? Would you like to speak on it? Objection, okay.
It's in the committee. It's just.
And Madam Speaker, I just want to know the disposition of the bill, whether there's a committee report, and just the status of it, just for our information.
It's my understanding that a committee report for this bill has been filed. It was returned prior to this meeting and has been since received by the Committee on Rules, but I'll have the core director, Ms. Janine Cordero, just give us an update.
This is Bill 210, Madam. Okay. Yes, it has been filed. It did not meet the deadline. So the bill was returned for further corrections, and then it was just returned to us this morning. So I would need to do a second review on it and then advise the chairperson on if everything has met the checklist.
Thank you. There's been an objection, so all those in favor of placing Bill 210 on the session agenda, please indicate by raising your hand. Motion fails. Senator San Agustin, you're recognized.
Notwithstanding the committee rules, I'd like to place the appointment of Dr. Michelle M. Santos. Her position is for the Guam Educators, Guam Commission for Educators Board.
I'll second that motion.
Moved by Senator San Agustin, seconded by Vice Speaker Chalahi. Any objection? Hearing none, motion carries. Senator San Agustin? Okay. Senator Torres.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to place Bill 201-34 on the agenda, and my understanding is, well, first of all, Bill 201-34 is relative to policies within the administrative rules and regulations of the Guam Board of Nurse Examiners. And this bill saw a public hearing, and I believe a committee report was timely filed, and that it should be released and posted on the website, but that all requirements, notwithstanding the fact that it doesn't appear here under new business, that it did in fact meet the requirements for the committee report to be filed. And so I move that Bill 201-34 be placed on the agenda.
Moved by Senator Camacho Torres and seconded by Speaker Cruz. Any objection to Bill number 201-34 being placed on the session agenda?
Madam Chair, I have no objection. I just need to qualify at this time, to clarify at this time. There are a number of bills out there where the committee reports are still pending to not of any fault by the author, but really, so are we allowed to move those bills onto the agenda since they're still pending? Or do we have to wait until session to move it on to the floor? Can you just go ahead for the record?
Yes, I'm also concerned about that because we don't know if the bill's been amended or not by the committee, and we would like to review those.
All of the bills that have met these requirements and have been accepted by the Committee on Rules for placement on the session agenda have been listed on the agenda for today.
Correct, but some of them have not been listed on the agenda today, and those are the bills, some of those bills have been, are being asked by my colleagues who have sponsored them to see if we can move them onto the agenda. But again, according to the rules, without a committee report filed, then we won't be able to move it on unless, notwithstanding the committee rules.
That's my understanding, is that if they make a motion notwithstanding the rules, that there is an opportunity both here in the Committee on Rules meeting and then also on the session floor to move those bills forward.
Yeah.
If the senator is referring to Senator Esteves' bill, the committee report was completed, and I believe it's been filed. It was probably late, but we made no changes to it.
Well, right now I have, in fact, Senator Torres basically is speaking to one of them, and then there's another one also right behind that one. I believe that Senator Torres is going to try to move on, but the committee report is still pending out there.
But in the case of Bill 201, there was, I believe, more of a misunderstanding than anything, and there was a glitch that wasn't a glitch through the fault of the sponsors at all. And what the situation here was, the bill was corrected where some very minor formatting was done to the title. So in other words, they flipped the placement of the thing, but nothing changed with regard to the statute or anything in the body, other than maybe a dash was inserted or a word of or the was deleted. But there was some concern about whether the bill needed to go back because the bill that was listed for the public hearing didn't have as corrected by the prime sponsor. But and I've been tracking this with the Committee on Rules, and essentially you have the bill in its entirety as corrected. That was essentially it is the same bill that was heard at the public hearing, but so that had to be rectified. Was the bill as introduced substantially different from the bill as corrected, and did it warrant that it not go forward? But my understanding from the Committee on Rules is that it is essentially the same bill exactly. It's just that the title was changed slightly to conform to the way that legal counsel believed it had to be. And so the committee report was timely filed, but that little question about rectifying it had to be answered. And so up until I was first informed that at 11 o'clock it was still being questioned, but prior to this meeting it was cleared that in fact it was good to go. So that's why I'm and that's why I didn't do it as a notwithstanding, because I believe all requirements were met. But it was just a matter of when they posted for public hearing, the bill is introduced versus the bill is corrected. Were they two bills that were substantially different? And the question is, no, they were in fact the exact same bill. It's just that the title was formatted in a slightly different way.
Thank you, Senator Torres. So Bill 201-34 is currently before us. It's been moved by Senator Camacho Torres and seconded by Speaker Cruz. Is there any objection?
So this bill, it's not clear. So the author's saying that the bill has been reported out of committee, has it? Okay, because
Yes,
we
the
have
bill
no way
has
of
been-
knowing that. They're not uploaded online or anything, so.
The bill was reported out of committee
And we're
to
not
the
able
Committee
to
on Rules,
see-
and there was a change that needed to be made, so we sent it back to the committee to make that change. It's my understanding that our committee is in receipt of the changed bill, and as Senator Torres had noted, it was minor changes to that. She has moved to place it on session agenda. The speaker has seconded. Is there an objection?
The other thing I think we need to be very accurate on is if we are putting a bill on the agenda as substituted or as corrected or as, but I just think we're at a disadvantage if we can't see it, or we can't see what the committee found. We're making an exception to the rules, and we have a way to do that when we're able to review the bills. Then we can, on the floor, move them on there, notwithstanding,
I
the
understand
agenda.
your-
But when we're not able to review them, I just think we're setting a precedent of no one will know what we're putting on the agenda.
I understand your concern. Is it an objection to placing this bill?
If I may, and what it is, what I'd just like to clarify is when the bill was corrected over a month ahead of the public hearing date, but when they noticed it, they didn't use the operative word as corrected. So the only, but I have in front of me a version of the red line version of showing what those corrections are, and it is essentially just in the title where they moved words around. So it reads, for example, instead of section 12313 of chapter 12, they deleted the word of, and that is essentially it. But what was heard at the thing is the exact same bill. So what I'm pointing out is it was a glitch that was through no fault of anybody. There was more than enough time for them to catch the error in the posting, but the hearing did in fact happen on the bill, the substance of the bill, and the committee report was timely submitted. So I don't think it's a situation where we're doing an exception. It's really a glitch that if we were to oppose it and go back, you're really just, you're disenfranchising all the people that came out for the public hearing, number one, and you're also just going to repeat the process, and essentially it's going to be a waste of government resources and time. So in that situation, I think it's the same thing. It's just what they posted wasn't completely accurate, but it was in fact the same bill. And the committee report can be posted as soon as this meeting is done.
Senator Camacho Torres has moved Bill 201-34 onto the session agenda. It's been seconded by Speaker Cruz. Any objection? Hearing none, motion carries. Senator Torres.
Madam Speaker, I also move to place under the same considerations Bill number 202-34 on the session agenda. Bill 202-34 is relative to expanding access to physicians' professional profiles. And what it does is it requires certain posting of physician information on the website that's currently maintained by the Board of Medical Examiners. This bill also, along with Bill 201, was filed in October, was heard at a public hearing in on December 15th, and my understanding is that the committee report was also timely submitted, and I cannot explain why it's not on the agenda, but from my understanding, everything was timely submitted and there were no issues. So I move that this also be placed on the agenda.
Bill 202-34 has been moved to be placed on session agenda by Senator Camacho Torres, seconded by Senator Espaldon. Any objection? Hearing none, motion carries. Senator Torres.
Madam Chair, I also move to place out of agenda item currently listed on old business, Bill number 92-34 on the session agenda. And this bill I had passed on in previous sessions. Bill number 92-34 is relative to extending the legislative term from 2 to 4 years and establishing the corresponding election cycle for the Guam Legislature.
Moved by Senator Torres, Bill number 92, and seconded by Senator Espaldon. Any objection? Hearing none, motion carries. Senator Torres.
Nothing further, thank you.
Thank you. Senator Espaldon, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I move to place Bill number 86-34 as substituted by the author being Will Castro, Senator San Agustin, Senator Muña, and Senator Morrison. And this is an act relative to community-based fisheries management. And from here on in, if passed, shall be known and cited as the Marine Conservation Act of 2017.
Bill number 86 has been moved by Senator Espadon, seconded by Senator San Agustin. Any objection? Hearing none, motion carries. Senator Espadon?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I also would like to move Bill number 182-34, introduced by Senators Estevez and Rodriguez. And this is an act to amend the Guam Code annotated relative to specifying references in Public Law 33-170.
Bill 182 has been moved by Senator Espadon, seconded by Speaker Cruz. Any objection? Hearing none, motion carries. Senator Espadon.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And again, the good chairman of the Committee on Appropriations and Adjudication relative to Bill 188, I believe he said it will or will not come out?
It is being circulated right now. We just received the transcript
Okay.
last night.
So notwithstanding, is this notwithstanding the House rules, that since it's still out there and has not been filed, that I would be able to try to move this on to the session agenda? May I? On Bill number 188, notwithstanding the rules, I move to place Bill 188-34.
It's my understanding that the Speaker is still circulating it for votes,
Okay, so
so we haven't received, the Rules
we-
Committee has not received it yet.
so I should not move it on at this time, is what you're saying? Okay, thank you. And then the last one, again, goes to the whole issue of a committee report still being out there, and that would be for Bill number 168-34, as corrected by the prime sponsor and further amended by the Committee on Appropriations and Adjudication. And does that require, since the committee report is still out there, and this is Bill number 168, an act to repeal Article 2 of Chapter 20, relative to establishing the Office of Technology as an agency of the government of Guam. And again, I look to guidance from the committee to whether I can move this on or not.
Yes, it was filed, but it didn't meet the deadline. 168.
So,
Yes.
so notwithstanding the rules, then the Committee on Rules, I move to place 168-34 onto the session agenda.
Bill 168-34 has been moved by Senator Espadon, seconded by Speaker Cruz. Any objection? Hearing none, motion carries. Senator Espadon.
That's all I have for now. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you. Any other motions to place by Speaker?
Yes, I'd like to move Bill 187, an act to establish the Adult Reentry Court Program at the Judiciary, to be placed on the agenda. This was reported out on November 27.
I'll second.
Bill 187 has been moved by Speaker Chirlahi, seconded by Speaker Cruz. Any objection? Hearing none, motion carries. Vice Speaker Chirlahi.
I'd like to make a motion on behalf of Senator Nelson, who is absent, regarding placement on the agenda of 3 nominees: Joseph McDonald for the PUC, Andrew Gale for the Guam Solid Waste Authority Board of Directors, and Cecilia Mantanotnia for the Guam Housing Corp.
All seconded by Speaker Cruz. Any objection? Hearing none, motion carries.
So one more motion on behalf of Senator Nelson is to place Bill number 145-34 as corrected by the prime sponsor. This bill's It's relative to removing the requirement that the Guam Housing Corporation appropriate a sum certain from its revenues to ensure a reserve balance every fiscal year, and to authorizing fees imposed on the sale and transfer of interest on real property to be deposited into the Housing Trust Fund program.
Bill 145 under old business has been moved by Vice Speaker Terlahi. Do I hear a second? Seconded by Senator Uggan. Any objection? Hearing none, motion carries. Vice Speaker.
No further motion.
Senator Ada.
Madam Chair, I move to place the appointment of Amanda L.G. Santos as a member on the Chamorro Land Trust Commission.
The appointment of Amanda L.G. Santos has been moved by Senator Tom Ada, seconded by Speaker Cruz. Any objection? Hearing none, motion carries. Any other members wish to be recognized? Speaker Cruz.
Madam Chair, we've received the Resolution 239-34, and given the members an opportunity to review the committee report, I move that Resolution 239-34 be placed on the agenda and placed at the end of the agenda. That at the end.
Resolution 239 has been moved by Speaker Cruz. Do I hear a second? Seconded by Senator Uggan. Any objection? Hearing none, motion carries. Speaker Cruz? We'll now move to the extension of remarks. The chair will open the floor for further discussion. I'd just like to note for the members that the Committee on Rules will be officially transmitting and introducing a recently passed Guam Youth Congress Bill 14-31 titled An Act to Ban the Sale and Distribution of Fossil Fuel-Based Plastic Shopping Bags, which was duly passed by Imina Trentay Unu na Congression Manhoben Guahan, the Guam Youth Congress, at a recent session. So I know that we've circulated this bill to the Committee on Rules members for your review and potential co-sponsorship, so I'd just like to note that for the record. I'd also like to note for the record that we've made multiple attempts in the Committee on Rules to contact the members and let you know in advance of our deadlines, and we just appreciate you meeting those deadlines and respecting them. I think several of our members have raised concerns about items that have not come before the body or not placed online for our review in the committee and the general public's review, and I share those concerns. So I'd like to again just respectfully request that you abide by our guidelines and our deadlines that we send out from the Committee on Rules.
Motion to adjourn.
Do I hear a second? Second. Motion to adjourn by Senator San Agustin, seconded by Senator Uggan. Any objection? Hearing none, motion carries. The time is now 2:41 p.m. Sidus Masi.